Hello everyone and welcome to County Perspective. This show focuses on Frederick County government, local programs and events, and the Frederick County community. I'm your host Brandon Rosa, and thank you all for joining us today. Recently in Frederick County government, we saw some important things happening with the transition team. The Division of Fire and Rescue Services reflects on the tanker truck accident that happened just a few weeks ago, and Frederick County Public Libraries hosted the annual Spelling Bee at Hood College. We'll find out more on this now in our top news stories. County Executive Jessica Fitzwater's transition team issued its final report, making 64 specific recommendations to guide the actions of Frederick County government over the next 4 years. More than 130 community members served on the transition team. They served on one of 8 committees, a group of senior advisors, and 7 working committees. The team was guided by the core values of inclusion, accountability, and sustainability. You can read the final report online by visiting frederickcountymd.gov/transition. A tanker truck carrying flammable liquid crashed and exploded on U.S. Route 15 Saturday, March 4th, killing the driver and damaging nearby homes and cars. The explosion sent flames and heavy smoke into the surrounding area. During a community roundtable on Wednesday, March 15th, Maryland Department of Transportation State Highway announced that guardrails will be installed along northbound Route 15. Fire Chief Tom Coe was at a community meeting to update the public on the incident and answer questions from residents.
So public notification is something that we take very seriously and is a large part of our response in mitigating disasters in Frederick County. So in the specific case of the Route 15 fire, we sent a social media post out 42 minutes into the incident, providing base awareness of the incident and requesting that the community avoid the area. And subsequent updates were provided, and our allied agencies were sharing those updates across all the social media feeds. It's important to understand that when we provide public notification, we want to make sure that that information is credible, is actionable, and is timely. So if we need the community to do something, that's something that we will notify them to do. We won't typically notify them if we do not need them to specifically take an action. In our initial response to the tanker fire, the firefighters on the scene did some evacuation from the neighboring houses in the immediate hazard area, but there was no need for further public evacuation.
To receive text messages about emergencies in the area, residents can sign up for Alert Frederick County by going to frederickcountymd.gov/alert.
Please spell caprifig.
Caprifig. CAPRIFIG.
That's correct.
Cheyenne Hensley, a 7th grader who attends the county's blended virtual middle school, beat more than 24 fellow spellers at the annual Frederick County Spelling Bee on Saturday, March 11th. Caprifig was the word that won the trophy, ensuring her a spot at the Scripps National Spelling Bee later this year.
At first I didn't know how to feel because I was in denial for the first 5 seconds, but then it just hit me and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was so nerve-wracking because I've never won any stuff like this before. I can't remember the last time I've gotten a trophy for anything.
For winning first place, Hensley received a check for $1,000, a 1-year subscription to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, and other prizes. Congratulations to Cheyenne Hensley and James Bowman of Middletown Middle School for coming in 2nd place. If you are ever in an emergency and dial 911, the Frederick County Emergency Communications call takers will be there to help you 24/7. FCG-TV visited the 911 Emergency Communications Call Center located at the Public Safety Training Facility to learn what it is like to be a call taker. Watch this video to find out more.
So when staff comes in, it depends what their assignment's going to be. Starting that shift, they could be in a radio position, dispatching police or fire rescue, or they could be assigned to a call-taking position. When somebody arrives, they receive a turnover report from the person that they're relieving, just to get an idea of what happened during the past 12 hours, any major incidents or problems that took place throughout the county.
We move based on the needs of the community and the callers for where we need to allocate more dispatchers and call takers or where we can have less at the time.
Our primary center is located at the Fire Rescue Headquarters building on Public Safety Place. We occupy the 3rd floor of the building, and we have a backup center which is located at the Law Enforcement Center behind the MBA on Airport Drive.
The shifts at the 911 Center are rotating days and nights for the most part. We have 4 shifts that work 2 12-hour days from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. and 2 12-hour nights from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and then they get 4 days off. We also have 2 power shifts which work during our busiest of hours. They stagger their start times, either working 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. or 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. and they work with every other weekend as a long weekend off.
When you dial 911, you're going to talk to one person, and that call taker is going to process your call, gather important information from you, such as the address, the phone number you're calling from, your name, and what the emergency is. They're going to process information using what we call Pro QA. We use that with medical, police, and fire, and that allows us to gather key information to help the responders and allows us to send a specific response.
Once the call is processed using the protocols, it will get to a point where it is accepted into our computer-aided dispatch system and will present to a dispatcher or a radio operator to actually dispatch and send the units to respond to it.
As you're speaking with your call taker, the other dispatcher is already dispatching the calls for service to you. So as we're getting that critical information, it's important to know that help's already on the way as we are speaking to you.
Large-scale events and major disasters are handled pretty much like we handle every event, just a little bit bigger and with a few more people. We are prepared to handle anything at any time. We have the ability to call in more personnel if we need. We have our backup center on Airport Drive. We are geodiverse, which means we can run both centers in tandem to meet the needs of whatever that disaster or influx of calls might be.
My favorite part of the job is making those connections for the citizens who need help and getting the first responders to the scene and making sure they all get home safely. Knowing that we're making those connections and solving people's problem is certainly one of the best attributes of the job.
When I was a call taker, my favorite part of the job was interacting with the public and never knowing what you were receiving on the other end of a 911 line. Once I started doing radio operations, my favorite thing was fire dispatching. I grew up in a fire rescue background, so it was really exciting to be the voice that was heard on the radio. Now that I'm the training administrator, the favorite part for me is being able to help grow and help new dispatchers be successful in their career.
So Frederick County 911 is hiring. We're looking for motivated individuals who want to serve both the citizens and the professional first responders throughout the county. If it's something you're interested in, you can go to our website, which is www.frederickcountymd.gov/jobs, and look for our emergency communication specialist. We're hiring both full-time and on-call part-time positions as well.
It is time for a short break, so grab some snacks, and we'll be right back in just a couple of minutes with more on County Perspective. Welcome back to County Perspective. I'm your host, Brandon Rosa. Before we watch the newest episode of Voices of Frederick County, let's see who's available for adoption in this episode's Pet of the Week.
While he can be a little shy at first, Flynn is quickly becoming a FCAC favorite. The handsome Pitbull mix is known for his calm and affectionate demeanor. He walks nicely on leash and has no issues with other dogs. While he does need to work on a few basics, his tolerant nature will make him a great addition to any household. To learn more about Flynn and our adoption process, call Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center at 301-600-1546.
FCG-TV recently launched a new series called Voices of Frederick County, where viewers get the chance to learn more about local individuals who have made positive impacts in our community. Episode 3 just came out, so let's take a look and find out more about Mary Mannix.
Frederick County has a long and storied history dating back 275 years. The Maryland Room at the Seaver Arts Library in downtown Frederick has become the repository of many of our county's historical records, documents, and stories. In charge of it all is Mary Mannix, an archivist who has been working for Frederick County Public Libraries since 1998. Mary has become a must-visit resource for all those seeking information about Frederick County history. This is her story.
My name is Mary Mannix. I'm the Maryland Room Manager at the Seaver Arts Public Library of Frederick County Public Libraries. I've been here for nearly 25 years. I got into history because I came from a family who was always very interested in history. I grew up in central New Jersey. We were a family during that time on summer vacations. We'd go to Williamsburg, we'd go to Mystic Bay, we'd go to Sturbridge Village. We went to a lot of historic sites. Also, I was very influenced by the PBS show on the Six Wives of Henry VIII. And also the play 1776. So those are sort of defining moments for me, knowing that I wanted to become involved in history, that history is really the subject I care about. So I ended up going to Hood College because I wanted to go to a women's college, and New Jersey didn't really have any really strong women colleges at that time. So I came down to Hood, was a history major, also doubled in political science. After I graduated from Hood, I went to the University of Delaware for a degree in American history, and I really went for the certificate in museum studies. Again, my goal was to be a historic house curator, and I was looking for a real full-time history job. And I was going through the Washington Post back when there were want ads in the newspapers, and saw an ad for this job at Frederick County Public Libraries to manage the Maryland Room, and it was as if they taken my resume and written the job description. So one thing that I think is very important when you're looking at the foundations of Frederick County, particularly if you're not familiar with the overall history of Maryland and not very familiar with the history of Frederick County itself, is that Frederick County was really the wilderness for a very long period of time. But Frederick was founded much later, 100 or so, a little more than that year later, than the Eastern Shore and Southern Maryland. And when it was founded in many ways, not completely, by Germanics, people who were coming out of what is now considered Germany, but also the surrounding areas as well, people who wouldn't want to be called Germans, people like the Swiss and other surrounding areas. And they are really one of the major people who came through here and were enticed by the landowners to stay here. The idea being that the Germanics were better farmers. So in order to, the sort of farming that the Germans were doing, they would grow grain, therefore they needed millers. They would grow rye, they needed distillers. You need community, you need towns. And also that brought forth the development of churches as well. So Frederick developed that way, the fact that the people who owned Frederick, who owned the land around here, such as Daniel Delaney, was going out of his way to grow a community, to grow a town, for a tax base is one reason for doing it, but then that made Maryland, Western Maryland, develop completely different. But the land itself is so incredibly valuable, and I don't mean financially valuable, but this land is really good land, and even if we're not utilizing it for agriculture, we should understand that that's part of the history of Frederick County, is just how good the soil was. So when I think of notable women of Frederick County, there are many notable women who are very, very famous, such as Claire McCardle, who's internationally known for fashion. But the people that come to my mind are people like Margaret Arts. Margaret Arts was responsible for giving the money to Frederick City for establishing the Seaver Arts Library, which was named after her beloved husband, Christian Burr Arts. He moved outside Chicago, made lots of money, came back, married the lovely Margaret. She was slightly later in life. She was in kind of her mid to late 20s. And when they moved back to Chicago, she put in her will that that if her daughter Victorine never married and never had any children, a sum of money would come to Frederick to establish a library. Other people that come to mind are people who were really important in the development of collections such as the Maryland Room. Would be Ann Lebhertz, who died just a few years back. Ann came down from New York to attend Hood College, married a local guy, moved to Braddock Heights, raised a family, but she was very involved in the establishment of Schifferstadt and Frederick County Landmarks Foundation. She's considered one of the founding mothers. And then finally, Rita Gordon. Rita and her husband Paul had been mayor. Rita and Paul collected a lot of materials. They're really the first kind of what I call kind of the middle class people in Frederick who were collecting things that were not of their family. They did a textbook history of Frederick County. They did some Civil War history. So they were working on the history of Frederick County, but also more importantly, collecting it, and also more importantly, supporting the establishment of paid positions in institutions such as the Maryland Room and the Historical Society. Happy 275th Frederick County. If you want to read more about it, about the history of Frederick County, please make sure to visit the Maryland Room at the Seabright Arts Public Library or contact us through email or through phone. We are here to help meet all your information needs in regarding your understanding of the birthday year that we're in right now.
All right, it is time to switch gears and find out what activities county divisions are offering in the next few weeks to keep you and your family engaged. Now, if you want to find out more about virtual events and programs and activities that are going on in the county, visit frederickcountymd.gov. So everyone, this episode of County Perspective is almost over, so let me tell you about some final good news before it is time to say goodbye. On April 28th, the Scott Key Center will be hosting a sensory-friendly prom for individuals with disabilities and those who are shy to loud music. High school prom is an important experience in everyone's life, but it is filled with a lot of people and loud music that some of us can't cope with. The sensory-friendly prom coming up next month will give teens the chance to walk the red carpet and enjoy dancing, but with music that is a bit quieter than your typical prom. Individuals must be 16 years or older to participate. To sign up, visit recreator.com. Hurry today before all the openings fill up. Are you looking to save money by making your home more eco-friendly? Well, now is your chance to sign up for the Power Savers Retrofits program with Frederick County Division of Energy and the Environment. For the past 8 years, the Division of Energy and Environment has been awarded a grant from the Maryland Energy Administration's Empower Clean Energy Communities program. Our 9th Power Saver Retrofits program will provide home performance with Energy Star audits and energy-saving home improvements to moderate and low-income households through May 2023. This program can offer HVAC improvements, window sealing, energy-efficient lighting upgrades, and more. To sign up, visit frederickcountymd.gov/7575. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this episode of County Perspective. Now, if you want to stay up to date on important news and events going on in the county, follow Frederick County on social media. We'll see you next time with a fresh look from a county perspective. Take care, guys.